on high. And Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. And I'm so glad you came to save us. 'Cause you came from heaven to earth to show the way. From the earth to the cross, my debt to pay. From the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high. I love to sing, I love to sing. Lord, I lift your name on high. And Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. And I'm so glad you came to save us. 'Cause you came from heaven to earth to show the way. From the earth to the cross, my debt to pay. From the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky. Lord, I lift your name on high. I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. And I'm so glad you came to save us. 'Cause you came from heaven to earth to show the way. From the earth to the cross, my debt to pay. From the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky. Lord, I lift your name. You came from heaven to earth to show the way. From the earth to the cross, my debt to pay. From the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high. From the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name. From the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high. I love to sing your praises. I'm gonna lift your name, I'm gonna lift your name on high. I love to sing your praises.
Hello, everybody. Man, first off, thanks so much to our friend Joel Jackson for allowing us to use his cover, Lord, I Lift Your Name on High. It's actually the first song on his 90s album coming out in July. So thanks to Joel for sending that to me this week and saying, use it. Matter of fact, if you comment in the comments, if you put down your favorite 90s worship song, good chance he might record it, and you'll hear it on his 90s worship album coming out in July. So pretty cool. Hello, Mama Kate, better known as Katie, better known from Live with Kate, from Unity Community. We're hoping that she can join us on our Pray for America hopefully soon. and continue the Live with Kate series here. But it's always good to see her. Give you a little update on her life. She's married with child now, and which is a good thing. But we miss seeing her face and hearing what God's put on her heart throughout the weeks and the months and so forth. Another thing we need to let you know real fast, David Meek from Ragamuffin Sons, you've seen him on the page early as last week. He'll be at Community Fellowship Church preaching, that's in Corden, obviously on May 18th. And we will be providing a lunch afterwards, so you can actually hang out and sit down and talk with Meek and his wife. And Katie, we love you more than anything else, which goes hand in hand. We will always be welcoming you, Katie, anytime, any way God uses you. We're here. As we were talking last week, the children's Bible story, Jonah in the well, came to my mind. And being quite honest with you, we have a little 4-year-old, little 3-year-old at our church named Nolan, and he's, a pretty cool kid. He helps us with the ushering and so forth, and I look at him as a child, and I'm thinking, what's a good story? And Jonah and the well, it's my favorite story in the whole Bible when I was growing up, and I started looking at it, started thinking of it, and I just wanted to, I guess, put that thing into text a little bit, if I can do that. But that story is so powerful. We all know the story of Jonah getting in a boat and leaving. But without you reading the scriptures there, how many people actually know where he was going to? It's a story that we know, but we don't really pay attention, I guess is the word that I want to use. And I am bad for that, really. But we're going to start verse 1. Now the word of the Lord came to Jonas, son of Amittai, saying, hey, if I butcher some of these names, I'm sorry. Get up and go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, because its wickedness has come up before me. Jonah, however, got up to flee to Tarshish, away from the presence of the Lord. Do you see how the word Lord is wrote there, capital Lord? If you see that in the Old Testament, it means Yahweh or Jehovah. And it points to the nature of God, that he's not changing, that he keeps his promises, and that he wants to live in relations with us. I thought it was pretty cool. We're going to share that really real quick. So we went down a little town of Joppa and found a ship bound for Tarshish. So he paid the fare and went aboard to sail away from the presence of the Lord. How many times in our life does God say go do something and we go in the totally opposite direction because we're scared, we're embarrassed, we're nervous, whatever the case may be? When I was going through my troubles in the teenage years, instead of facing my problems up front, I ran. How many times have we ran? How many times have we said we know God, we only know of God. But then the Lord hurled a great wind upon the sea, and such a violent storm arose from the ship, that the ship was in danger of a breaking point. Their sailors were afraid, and each cried out, "This is important here." The sailors cried out to their own God. That's God with a small g, which means idol, which means personal beliefs. And they threw the ship's cargo into the sea to lighten the load. Imagine being on a cruise ship and a storm comes up, and to lighten the load, they throw your luggage over the side of the ship. That's basically what happened here. He had to pay to ride on this boat, and they didn't have motors back in the day, so it was a rowboat. And they got scared because of a storm, and so they threw the ship's cargo, everything, over the side of the ship. But Jonah had gone down to the lowest part of the vessel, where he lay down and fell into a deep sleep. The captain approached him and said, "How can you sleep? Get up and call upon your God. Perhaps this God will consider us, so that we shall not perish." In other words, they give up hope on their God. "Come," said the sailors to one another, "let us cast lots. Let's find out who's responsible for this calamity that is upon us." So they cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. "Tell us now," they demanded, "who is to blame for this calamity that is upon us? What is your occupation? Where have you come from? What is your country? And who are your people?" In other words, tell us about you. "I'm a Hebrew. I worship the Lord, the God of the heavens, who made the sea and the dry land." Then the men were even more afraid and said to him, "What have you done?" The men knew he was fleeing the presence of the Lord because he had told them. Here they were, didn't believe in God, but they're seeing a mighty work from God. Now the sea was growing worse and worse, and so they said to Jonah, "What must we do to calm this sea for us?" What must we do? "Pick me up," he answered, "and cast me into the sea, so it may be quiet down for you. For I know that I am to blame for this violent storm that has come upon you." Nevertheless, the men rowed hard to get back to dry land, but they could not, for the sea was raging against them more and more. So they cried out to the Lord, to Jehovah. And here they were praying to their own gods to calm the sea, but then they had an explosion here. They come to Jesus' meeting. "Please, O Lord, do not let us perish on account of this man's life. Do not charge us for the innocent blood. For you have, O Lord, have done as you please." In a time of turmoil and a time of fear, they found God. We all know the story. They picked up Jonah and cast him to sea, and raging sea grew calm. Then the men feared the Lord greatly, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord and made vows to him. Now the Lord had appointed a great fish to swallow Jonah, and spent 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of a fish. We teach belly of a whale because that's just a metaphor of something, what we know, big in the ocean. But let's look at what's happening here. And let's make it a modern day Jonah in the well. How many times have we had problems, situations in our life, and we don't know why, but we blame God. We all have stories. We all have um, um, examples we can use in our own life. We blame God. But did you ever realize that one, God loves you and he will not let nothing happen that he won't protect you or that won't draw you closer to him? So here's Jonah realizing that he can't run from God. One thing I want to point out to you, Tarshish from Nineveh is approximately 2,500 miles in the opposite direction. He was running from the presence of God. Man, when I went through my times as troubled times as a teenager, I ran from God. God found me in Sasebo, Japan. God found me in Pattaya Beach, Thailand. God found me in places that I didn't think that he would find me. Because, well, how did he find me? Because God is everywhere. And when God puts something on our heart, when God puts something, tells us that he wants us to do something, and we run in the opposite direction, I'm guilty of it. Katie's guilty of it. Amy's guilty of it. But when we run in the opposite direction, it's called disobedience. And disobedience brings storms in your life. How many times have you seen people say, man, I'd give up? Be obedient. To be obedient. There's so many people in life that says, I know God. But have you met him? I know of God. About 15 years ago, I met a guy by the name of Jack Nicholson. He's in the movies. A Few Good Men, amongst others. A Few Good Men is my favorite movie. I met him backing my truck into the Staples Center. I can't say that I'm friends with him. I met him. I know of him. Shook his hand. Watched his movies. But I can't say that I talked to him on the phone. Can't say I've been to his house for dinner. I can't say he's been to my house for dinner. I can't even say we went to McDonald's together. But I met him. Does he make me my friend? No. God says, I want to be your friend. I want to be in your life. I want a relationship with you. And when you disobey me, I'm going to bring some storms. I'm going to bring you back to me. But here's Jonah, knowing that he done wrong. That's called conviction. And God's going to get your attention. And God is going to get your attention. You can rest assured that. I'm trying to click this over. It's not allowing me to click over. Yeah, it is. Cut off. From inside the fish, Jonah prayed to the Lord, the Lord's God, saying, in my distress I called to the Lord, and he answered me. From the belly of this fish I called for help, and you heard my voice. For you cast me into the deep, into the heart of the seas, and the current swelled about me. All your breakers and waves swept over me. At this I said, I have been banished from your sight. Yet I look once more toward your holy temple. The waters engulfed me to take my life. The watery depths closed around me. The seaweed wrapped around my head, and into the roots of the mountains I descended. The earth beneath me barred me in forever. But you raised my life from the pit, O Lord my God. As my life was fading away, I remembered the Lord. My prayer went up to you, to your holy temple. Those who cling to worthless idols forsake his loving devotion. But I, with a voice of thanksgiving, will sacrifice to you. I will fulfill what I have vowed. Salvation is from the Lord. And the Lord commanded the great fish, that whale, and it vomited Jonah onto dry land. Jonah had a come to Jesus meeting at that point. Jonah had a thing that said, man, I have screwed up. God's going to get his way. No matter what it is, God is going to get his way. The old saying is, buckle up, buttercup. It's going to be a ride. So, let's do this. I'm going to share that back with you so you'll see what we're reading. Then the word of the Lord came to Jonah a second time. Get up, go to the city of Nineveh, and proclaim to it the message that I gave you. In other words, God told Jonah the second time to go. This time Jonah he understood and got up and went to Nineveh. Nineveh was an exceedingly great city, requiring a 3-day journey. On the first day of his journey, Jonah set out into the city and proclaimed, 40 more days and Nineveh will be overturned. And the Ninevites believed God. They proclaimed a fast and feast and dressed in sackcloth, from the greatest of them to the least. And when the word reached the king of Nineveh, he got up on his throne, took off his royal robe, covered himself with sackcloth, and sat in ashes. Then he issued a proclamation. By the decree of the king and his nobles, let no man, no beast, herd, or flock taste anything at all. They must not eat or drink. In other words, he called for a fast. Furthermore, let both man and beast be covered in sackcloth, and have everyone call out earnestly to God. Let each one turn from his evil ways and the violence in his hands. Who knows? God may turn and relent. He may turn from his fierce anger so that we will not perish. They knew they were wrong, and the king's like asking for forgiveness here. He's calling for the town to totally give in to God. He was calling for a revival. And when God saw their actions, they turned from the evil ways. He relented from the disaster he had threatened to bring upon them. In other words, he found favor. He found favor in this little town. And it's the neat thing about it. Here's a neat thing. Not a soul perished. Animals didn't perish. Jonah, however, was greatly displeased. He became angry. Here's Jonah thinking God's going to wrath down him. He just spent 3 days in the belly of a well and the well threw up and vomited him on an island on dry land. He was he ready to see God at work. Jonah was greatly displeased. He became angry. So he prayed to the Lord, saying, "Oh Lord, is this not what I said while I was still in my own country? This is why I was so quick to flee toward Tarshish. I knew that you were gracious and compassionate, God, slow to anger, abounding in loving devotion, one who relents from sending disaster. Oh, now, O Lord, please take my life from me, for it's better for me to die than to live. I saw a post on Facebook just today where the person who believed in God, going through some hard times, denounced that there was one. There is no God. And my heart is broke because I know this person believes different. But even in faith in God, Jonah got angry. Take my life, Lord. I don't even want to live. Got depressed. It's better for me to die than to live. But the Lord replied, how have you have any right to be angry? Then Jonah left the city and sat down east of it, where he made himself a shelter and sat in the shade to see what would happen to the city. So the Lord appointed a vine, gave him a vine, and it grew up to provide shade over Jonah's head to ease his discomfort, so he escaped the heat. And Jonah, he was greatly pleased with the plant. He enjoyed it. He sat underneath it. And when dawn came the next day, God appointed a worm and attacked the plant so it withered. And as the sun was rising, God appointed a scorching east wind. And the sun beat down on Jonah's head, so he grew faint and wished to die, saying, it's better for me to die than to live. Then God asked Jonah, have you got any right to be angry about the vine? I do, he replied. I'm angry enough to die. But the Lord said, you care about the plant, which you neither tended to nor made grow. It sprang up in the night and perished in the night. So should I not care about the great city of Nineveh, which has more than 120,000 people who cannot tell the right hand from the left, and how many cattle as well? Wow. How many times, just stop sharing this thing. How many times do we care about ourselves? How many times do we say, it's better to die than to live? How many times? I want everyone watching this now, later, whenever. I want you to think about something. I want you to think about your lowest point. Not caused by anybody else but you. And I want you to think about what got you there. And we'll find more times than not, we're at our lowest point because God asked us to do something and we disobeyed. You know, when my mess was going on, it wasn't until I said, God, if you're going to do this, you're going to have to do it. My life started turning around. Man, I try to find my answers in the bottom of bottles. I try to find my answers in places I knew my answer wasn't going to be. But until we said, God, you got it, the things start turning around. See, like I said earlier, a lot of people know of God. There's a lot of people who go to church on Sunday morning that know of God. There's a lot of people that could quote you Bible verses. There's a lot of people that can stand in the pulpit and preach a sermon. But I don't mean to shock you. I don't mean to alarm you. And I don't mean to hurt your feelings. But so can the devil. the biggest advantage that the devil has is for you to go to church and just sit in a pew and not be the church. Because as long as you feel like you're doing something, as long as you can check the Jesus box on Sundays, you think you've done something. But at the same time, you go back home to your miserable life where you're depressed because you told God no about something. I don't know who I'm speaking to on that one, but man. But here's a question I have for you. What is keeping you from God and His blessings in your life? Only you can answer that. But what is keeping you? Not, well, my wife don't like why I work at church, or I work too hard. Or what is keeping you from being obedient to God? Well, my friends don't agree. Your friends is not your eternity. Every one of us has situations in our life that is keeping us from God's full potential. What is keeping you from God and His blessings in your life? Church hurt? Earlier today, I got a message from a good friend of mine. Good friend of mine, Amy's. This family took me in and helped me. And I am forever indebted and grateful to this family. And the message was, I'm ready to give up. I just found out my husband was cheating on me with my best friend. And I've got all these problems. And I told this person this morning, and I don't know if this person is watching or not, but I told this person this morning, I'm going to do a podcast. I'm going live at 8 o'clock tonight. And I will have the answer to your problems. My friend, here is your answer. Just a few letters with a huge meaning. Love. 4 letters, 1 word. Love. The love of Jesus Christ. And then people say, Jesus can't love me. Jesus don't love me. If He loves me, I wouldn't be going through this. I wouldn't be having a modern day Jonah in the well experience if Jesus loved me. He loved you so much He died for you. You're going through a storm. You're going through a place. You're going through a time where God's going to get your attention. And trust me, He's going to get your attention. And the sooner you allow Him to do what He's going to do in your life, the sooner things will be all right. I never know how to end these things. I never know what to say at the end. And I'm going to start telling Amy to walk this way. But if you're going through a time in your life where you just don't know, man, I just don't know. Or maybe you do know. And you just don't know what to do. Maybe you felt like God called you to do something and you haven't done it. And so you're going through a hard time. Brandon Lake has a song called Talking to Jesus. Talk to him. So I said, how do you pray? I just talk to Jesus. If you're going through a hard time, if you want somebody to talk to, reach out to us. Reach out. On their page, on their main page, there's a phone number there. That's our home number. Call. Amy answers the phone, thinking it's their grandkids all the time. But doing nothing isn't the answer. But my friends, we love you. We appreciate you.
We thank you, Lord, for your scars, because your scars give mine a meaning. God bless.